All right. Hey, it's Rio here, and it is Friday, and I'm working virtually on Friday. And what that basically means is I work at home, which I do most days, honestly. I find I work more at home than I do at the office because it's quiet and I can get focus time done. So, in this week for attendance, what I want to do is go over some of the topics that I've heard from you during the week and also give you an update that I had been giving you in writing, but I want to make sure you understand it. And I'm going to start with that one and then I'll move over in just a second and actually show you the list of what I have so that I make sure I get through it. One thing is, you all finished your first Code Academy last night. And most of you seem to enjoy that. Some of you, for many of you, it was completely new. And so, it's good. Some of you, and this is really the definition of grit, is like you got through it. Even though at first it was intimidating, you persevered, you stuck with it. And that was the other thing is I really enjoyed hearing your grit writing and about the atom. That was really cool for me. And the truth is, I find most students have grit. That's why they're here. And they want something better in their lives and they're willing to give it the time that it needs. So good for you, right? So let me circle back to the Code Academy for a second here. Even in the video that you watched about Code Academy, I mentioned that replies were required, and I've dropped that requirement, and here's why. I had one student last semester on the end of semester feedback tell me that they felt like they were not really giving honest replies. They were just going through the motions. And so I really thought about it. And that's something, honestly, that I do consider. I actually really appreciate thoughtful feedback from students. That's why I feel like I've been able to create a course that I hope is really student friendly. But I know not everyone experiences that, but I know many of you do. And part of the reason I feel like that's true is that I respond to student feedback. I don't always. I mean, you may give me something that as I consider it, I'm like, no, I really do need to do that. As a matter of fact, I think I got one this week. Somebody asked me if I would consider using something besides Google Drive. And I was like, no, mostly because Google Drive is the easier one to use. But there are other ones out there, right? And so, but I heard it, I considered it, and it made me think maybe I should try the OneDrive. I used to use OneDrive from Microsoft because it's part of your accounts that you get from FCC, but I just found they're not as user friendly. But maybe I should take another look. Okay, so here's my point, and here's what I want you to just think about is that I don't require them. Several of you did them last night, and I even on my post reply back to you said, you know, I don't require them anymore. But should I allow you to do replies to get late points back? Because you can get, for every training that you do in the My IT lab, you can get points returned. So should we do that for the Code Academy work, which we will have several of, okay, moving forward? So I'm just curious about that, what you think about that. And so in your reply, you can say that. And here's my last thing about Code Academy. One of your fellow students is working ahead to week 5. And in week 5, and here's what I want you to check as I'm talking about this. I want you to pull up Code Academy. And I want you to go down to where it says the HTML tables. And as a matter of fact, I should just switch over and do this with you as well. Because he was on his, and he gave me a print screen, which, by the way, many of you are giving me print screens when you have errors, and that's great. I'm glad that you're doing that. But on his print screen of Code Academy, it showed that it was required to have the pro account to do the one I want you to do in week 5. And I checked my account and it doesn't show that. So here's my favor I'm asking of you. Again, I appreciate students working ahead because it gives me time to respond and change if I need to. But would you go check on Code Academy? So actually, let's just do it together. Okay, so I'm going to go. And the thing is with me is I'm already logged in and I don't see. And I think this change that they've done may have been, I'm going to go into my HTML, the one you all are in. And he was showing that on tables, right? Now see, what's happened here is I've completed this one, but his is showing on tables that it's a pro required. And here's my thought. If you do see it, would you do me a favor and go ahead and click on it and see if it gives you a message? It just gives you an opportunity to sign up for the pro, but it allows you to do it. So you're helping me test. And this is the reality of some of the work that we do in this class, is that sometimes things, and oftentimes things, are going to change. Anything from my IT lab to the Code Academy, to the Canvas, right? Something could change on campus. This is the nature of the world we live in. So we're constantly trying to figure out, okay, something's changed. How do I react to that? And especially for me, because we all, we do this completely on the web. Okay, I'm going to go back over here. So I talked about Code Academy Week 5. I talked about no replies. One thing is, several of you are still having a bit of a challenge in the shared with everyone or even the shared with Rio. But one thing I want to say is, if when you do your post and you see it and I tell you I don't see it, you might wonder why. Okay? So here's what I want you to know. When you're looking at Canvas, and in your Canvas post, let's say it just happened, I'm just going to click on the hands-on. And when you're looking at your reply, and they're just taking a second here to load, which I'm sure you all probably felt during that, is that you saw it, right? Well, the reason you saw it, and most likely I didn't, or even your fellow classmates, because some of you replied telling folks, is because you're logged in to Gmail. And what happens is it uses your credentials to then see that file. And one way you can easily test to see if it is really set up correctly is actually just to log out. And I'm not going to do it. And actually this is Chrome, so that's not right. But you can log out of Gmail, maybe clear your browser, right? And that should at least give you a view to see if your shared with everyone is set up correctly. Okay, so log out of Gmail to see if that's true. And here's the other thing. So moving on, is that somebody mentioned this. It's like, why in my IT lab does it only give you one way to do the exam, even though there's multiple ways, as most of us know, in something like Microsoft Word, right? It only gives you one way to do it. It's because it's every path, every different option in my IT lab requires somebody to program it. And so it's very opinionated in the sense that it generally wants you to do it the way it's shown you how to do it, and not the alternative way that you may know. Now, I wish they would do all the different options, but I understand why they don't, because the amount of time and coding, oh yeah, coding, that's right, that it takes to do that. So, just FYI. And so I've mentioned this before, is I teach other coding classes. Next semester, if you're interested, I teach CIT82 Web Technologies in a 9-week online mode. If you're interested, that's a class. And then I also teach JavaScript and I teach Node.js. So I hope to see you in some of my other classes, but there are definitely other classes to teach and for you to learn coding. And I think it's a great thing if you do. Okay. Let me come back. I think I got it all. So I looked ahead to next week. There's nothing really new for next week, except that we just have new My IT Lab, new chapter quiz, and the classwork's already set up. And actually, I released week 5, and I'm hoping this weekend, or maybe even today, to release week 6, because I try to stay 2 weeks ahead of you. All right, so we're getting to that place in the semester where you got to make sure that you're on track with this class and understanding it. If you want any clarification, always reach out to me. Some of you are on class chat, and that's great. I recommend it highly because I will often put the most up-to-date information that I have out there. So what do I want you to reply with? I want you to reply with either a comment about the replies on the Code Academy no longer needed, or really, most importantly, if you could do both, is actually go check the HTML down on tables to see if you see that it's required pro. And if it is, do me a favor, click into it and see if it does just give you the option, or if it does make you do that. And if it does, then I need to just rearrange a few things for that. All right, thank you very much. Have a great weekend. It's going to be beautiful weather in California. Thank God it's not cold, right? We should be grateful. Have a good one. Bye.